Welcome to Warn. Today's news headlines are: over 270 trainees pass out of IAF training institutes. Over 270 trainees passed out from the Mechanical Transport Training Institute and Air Force Police Institute at Indian Air Force Station at suburban Avadi today. A defense press release said 277 trainees of Mechanical Transport Training Institute and Air Force Police and Security Training Institute successfully completed the training. Headquarters Training Command, Bengaluru, Air Commodore C.G.H. Khan, reviewed the passing out parade and presented the trophies to meritorious candidates. An unarmed combat display presented by the intrepid air warriors, which was followed by a drill and reassembling of a Maruti gypsy vehicle within 5 minutes, were also held during the ceremony. A motorcycle drill by Air Force Police trainees was also conducted on the occasion, the release said. Naval Science and Technological Laboratory display indigenously ion batteries for special applications. The Naval Science and Technological Laboratory, NSTL, Visakhapatnam is organizing a one-day national-level workshop on indigenously ion batteries for special applications on Saturday at Manassi Auditorium of NSTL. The workshop will be inaugurated by Drive S. Christopher, Secretary, Department of Defense Research and Development and Chairman, DRDO, S. Christopher. The workshop will provide an opportunity to scientists of DRDO laboratories across the country and participant industries/academia to deliberate on the challenges associated with development of Li-ion battery technologies for underwater and other special applications. Delegates at the workshop would discuss on the way ahead for establishing indigenous production base for lithium-ion batteries in India, in line with the vision of Prime Ministers under the Make in India program. The workshop is expected to generate a roadmap towards building a strong manufacturing base for Li-ion battery in the country. Pentagon approaches to partner with India in anti-submarine warfare. A key Senate panel has asked the Pentagon to reassess its approach to partner with India and cooperate with it in anti-submarine warfare, amid China's increased naval presence in the Indian Ocean. An amendment in this regard to the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, 2018, moved by Senator Ted Cruz, was passed by the Senate Armed Services Committee early this week. It is a part of Cruz's effort to further implement the designation of India as a major defense partner. Few partnerships in the 21st century carry more strategic significance than United States' partnership with India, the world's largest democracy, said Cruz's office. Even so, Senator Cruz believes that current bilateral cooperation and joint development need to be more closely aligned with the shared interests of maritime domain awareness and anti-submarine warfare, it said. As such, Cruz secured an amendment that calls on Department of Defense to reassess its approach to partnering with India and to appoint an individual to oversee this process. The amendment came as China increased its maritime presence in the Indian Ocean by docking its ships at ports in Karachi and Colombo. Further, the bill notes that Taiwan is a linchpin of American national security in the Asia-Pacific and alleges that China is seeking to isolate Taiwan from its allies and partners across the globe. The NDAA 2018 amendment comes days after India and the US sought to increase their military-to-military engagement and defense trade. The United States remains a reliable provider of advanced defense articles in support of India's military modernization efforts, said a fact sheet issued by the White House on Monday after a meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Insulting question led to planning of Pak surgical strikes, Manohar Parrikar. Former Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar today said an insulting question by a television anchor to Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore after the 2015 anti-insurgency operation along the Myanmar border prompted him to plan last year's surgical strikes in Pak. Speaking before a gathering of industrialists here today, the Goa chief minister said, the surgical strikes against militants in Pak, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, was planned 15 months in advance. On June 4, 2015, northeastern militant group NSCNK ambushed an Indian Army convoy in Chandel district of Manipur and killed 18 Jawans. Parrikar said when he was informed about the incident, I felt insulted, a small terrorist organization of 200 people killing 18 Dogra soldiers was an insult to the Indian Army, and we sat in the afternoon and sat in the evening and worked out the plan of first surgical strike, which was conducted on June 8 morning, in which about 70 to 80 terrorists were killed, along the India-Myanmar border. It was a very successful strike, he said, adding that on Army's side, the only instance of an injury was a leech attaching itself to a soldier's leg. Contrary to some reports, no helicopters were used. I had placed helicopters on standby, only in case of emergency evacuation, he said. But one question, from media, hurt me. Union Minister, Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore, an ex-Army man, was on TV and he was explaining about all kinds of search operations. An anchor asked him, would you have the courage and capability of doing the same on the Western Front? Parrikar recalled. I listened very intensely but decided to answer when the time came. The starting of September 29, 2016, surgical strike on the western border was 9th of June, 2015, we planned 15 months in advance. Additional troops were trained. Equipment was procured on priority basis, he said. The Swathi weapon locating radar, developed by the DRDO, was used first in September 2016 to locate firing units of Pakistani Army, though the system was inducted officially 3 months later, Parrikar said. Thanks to this radar, 40 firing units of Pakistani Army were destroyed, he added. Pakistan must pay for supporting terrorism, says US Congressman. Pakistan knows it is supporting terrorism, as does the United States and Afghanistan, and therefore, must face the consequences, financial or otherwise, for doing so, a member of the United States Congress has said. In a recent address before the U.S. Congress, Congressman Ted Poe of the 2nd District, Texas, squarely accused Pakistan of playing the United States and insisted that it is high time for Washington to act firmly and put a stop to giving any kind of aid to the former. Listing 3 immediate steps to be taken, Poe said, the United States does not, and should not, continue to give Pakistan money, because the money we give them goes to ISI, Inter-Services Intelligence, and that money goes to support terrorist activity in Afghanistan that kills Americans. Why are we doing this? But we continue to do it, for some reason that I think is absurd. So, the first thing we need to do is cut off the aid to Pakistan. We don't need to pay them to kill us, they will support killing Americans on their own. Cut off the aid, he said. The second thing we do is to label Pakistan a state sponsor of terrorism. That is what they are, a state sponsor of terrorism. Congress needs to label them and make that designation so they suffer the consequences for their terrorist mischief throughout the world, he added. And, the third thing we do is we need to remove and revoke their major non-NATO ally status. That is a fancy word for, because Pakistan is a major non-NATO ally, they get certain benefits, militarily, that other countries don't get. Revoke that. Quit giving them military aid. Quit giving them money. Designate them as a state sponsor of terrorism, and remove the major non-NATO ally status against Pakistan, Congressman Poe said.
Thanks for watching. I hope you like this news. Please share your views in comment box. Please like and share this video. Press subscribe button and bell for auto update to you regarding my channel World Action and Reaction News. Warn.